Here we have Tamaric Lady. She's a 5-year-old 16 hand mare that I just got from Indiana. And you're about to see a really funny mounting block oops. And it's only funny because the mare was so darn good about it. We try very hard to not have the horses actually take out the mounting block as they're walking away, but she handled it very well. So thank you, mare, for not freaking out and bolting away at the falling over mounting block. So this mare, I am really excited about her. She is honestly, I think she's spectacular. I'm having so much fun bringing her along, and this is actually the second time I've sat on her. I sat on her yesterday briefly for a couple of minutes, but if you watch my video on Jay, you already heard me go on and on about how awful the weather has been. And yesterday she was just a little unsettled, sort of a typical first ride. She was wiggly in her shoulders. I had a loose ring snaffle in her mouth, and that was actually just too much bit because she's so round and so light at my fingertips. And I just actually thought the loose ring was just a little bit too much play in her mouth. And I could have just gotten off and changed the bit, but the weather was just so awful that I just decided to just get off and try again a different day, which was today. And so I just have a simple D-ring snaffle in her mouth today. And of course, the next day out, she comes out and the weather's really no better. It was still awful, but I think we were both just a little bit more resigned to the fact that it is what it is. And we both just put up with it a little bit better today. So this mare is just spectacular. She has a fabulous trot. Her canter is just, it's all the things. I love it so much. She's so balanced. She's so uphill. She sits in her frame so nicely, super comfortable. There's just nothing that I don't like about the way that she goes. She did such a nice little canter set here to the left. At this point, I was thinking to myself as I was riding, like, this is so great. I should stop soon because, I don't want to make her too tired. The video can't be 10 minutes of her cantering, but I could have easily gone on for that long because it just is such a great feeling. And then after she stepped out of the canter, she gave me some really brilliant work in the trot. She was the one thing I will say, it drives me nuts when horses sneeze. And of course, there's nothing I can do about it. You just have to ignore it. But it is funny sometimes. It seems like she just had something up her nose and she sneezed and quite a few times and quite violently. And that was the one thing I'll say I'll pick at her about for that ride. Excessive sneezing. So then we went to the right, and the right is always a little bit harder. They always lean a little bit harder at the gate, out their outside shoulder to the right. She was really good today, though. She was leaning, and a little bit, not really in the trot, a little bit in the canter she was leaning, and you'll see when we're in the canter that I'm having to sort of really ride my outside aids around the corner here as we're going by the gate. But that is just such typical right off the track, green young horse stuff. Doesn't mean anything. And my ring is actually very isolated. You can't see the ring from the barn or from their paddocks, and vice versa. When they're in the ring, they can't see the barn, they can't see any other horses. So I always find that if you're gonna have a horse that's very anxious about being away from the barn or away from the rest of the group, that behavior can really come out pretty strong in my ring because it's so isolated. And she was super. I mean, so right there's a couple of steps where she's sort of falling through the left shoulder. That's what I mean when I say she's wiggly or she's falling out the left shoulder. But just a stronger outside aid, kick with the left leg, and on she went. She was really good. So her right leg canter is just as spectacular as her left. I'm sort of kicking myself because she wasn't much on picking up the right lead, which is normal. That happens all the time. And I had taken down my jumps and things because they were calling for snow that it doesn't look like we're getting. But anyway, my jumps, nothing is set up. I don't have any poles out or anything. And I should have just taken my time and stopped and asked Billy to put a pole down for me. But instead, I sort of like rushed her into a not very nice change, which was completely my fault because I was rushing and I should have just stopped and done it the right way. Anyway, so it was my fault. I did a not very nice change that I'm too embarrassed to put up for public viewing. She was excellent. And then she did a lovely right lead canter. And then again, when she came back into the trot, I mean, this is just so brilliant. I was so pleased with her at the end of this ride. She gives a great feeling. She's so athletic and uphill.